Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my book review channel. I came across a book that I really wanted to review, I guess for a YouTube audience. It is called The Dispossessed. It's by Ursula K. Guin. I think if you're a sci-fi girly, if you hate capitalism, this book is definitely for you. I will be spoiling it, just so everyone's aware. I will talk about plot points in detail. So, the premise of this book is there are these two planets. One you can sort of view as Earth, an Earth-like planet that's very lush, and it has, wildlife, and it has oceans and rivers, and it's just a really beautiful natural environment. And then on the society that lives on that planet, they're called profiteers. They're basically capitalists, but there's a lot of like wealth inequality, gender inequality between the different like states. And because of that inequality, there's a lot of tension and like there's wars that go on. So I decided that I was going to say all of these names with an American accent because I am American. So your ass is what it's called. But yeah, so, and then on the moon, there's this anarchist colony that sort of came from your ass, and they decided that they're gonna start their own society, free of capitalism, free of a state, free of independence a little bit. It's a very collective society. They do everything for the greater good. And like I said, they came from your ass, and in the book, it's been about 170 years since they've, I guess, migrated to Anaris, is how I'm gonna refer to it as. And in this time, a man named Shavek is born on Anaris. The protagonist, his name is Shavek. He's from Anaris. He considers himself an anarchist. He does things for the collective society. He's also a physicist. It's like the Stephen Hawking of Anaris. And so the institution that he is being trained at on Anaris, they don't really value what he's theorizing, because he comes up with this theory about time. It's basically that everything exists all at once, and so you can figure out how to teleport or be in two places at once, and nobody on Anaris wants to support him. He's doing this work not for the best, like the better of the society, but because it's like a personal project. And that's sort of like one of the overall lessons I think that the book is trying to make readers come across, is that like even on this anarchist utopian society, you should be able to be revolutionary in a quote-unquote revolutionary society. But once that society has settled down and has established a sort of status quo way to live, and you want to go against that, are you, I don't know, taking on profiteer characteristics? That is what the book is about. So yeah, so some other things about Shavek, I guess, on the planet of Anaris is he has a wife, he has two kids. His wife's name is Takver. One of his kids' name is Sadik. The other one, Pilun. They live together at some points, and then at some points he's being sent away by, it's not their government because they don't have a government on Anaris, but it's basically akin to a government. He starts getting like suspicious of like, okay, why do they keep moving us? Why don't they want people to like have partners or raise kids? He starts like rebelling. And the way that he rebels is he has this one friend that he is in cahoots with. I don't know how. They get a message to your ass, okay? There's also like a lot of Shavek's work that is starting to get published on your ass. Shavek decides he wants to go, and like he's revolutionary. This is a society where he can make his own decisions. They plan a trip. Yeah, he faces a lot of, I guess, political turmoil, if you will, because at this point he is somewhat a prominent figure on Anaris. Even though, like I said, there are no celebrities, he's just garnered a lot of attention because of his trip to your ass. But at the end of the day, I think it's Takver. Takver is the one that's like, no, you need to go. You need to get your theory of time published because they're not going to publish it here. He says, okay, why not? That is when the book, I guess the book is sort of divided into two time periods, his time on Anaris and his time on your ass. When he gets there, it's like amazing. And then, of course, since he's like a physicist, he goes to stay at the university or the institution. Yeah, I think when he gets there, he really enjoys it at first. He's working on his theory. He's going to these fancy dinner parties. He's getting awards. He's getting money. And then it all starts to get somewhat repetitive. He realizes that he's been surrounded by people in like the upper class, like the whole time. He's just like been with the 1%. But he wants more perspective. He wants more context on your ass. So he decides that, he's going to find people in the street that I guess are low socioeconomic status. And then a war breaks out. So there's 2 states. There's a socialist state. I think it's a socialist-light state. And then there's the state that he's in, which is like called A10 or AIO. The capitalist state and the socialist state are like always sort of at war with each other. It's kind of like hinted at between people's different remarks. It's obvious to Shevek that each state's motives are different than what they're saying to the media. He's just like very curious about it. Yeah, he wants to talk to some of these people. He really wants to know like what their motivations are, and he starts questioning the institution, the academy that he's currently at, and he's like, are they just using me? Am I a profiteer now? Am I a capitalist? And this leads him to a dinner party, and there's one woman that he met who doesn't live in the city. I think she lives in like a suburb or an adjacent city. So he goes and he finds her, and they like hang out. They have a pretty good day. He like starts asking questions like, do you not feel weird that there are no women in charge? And she's like, women are in charge. Like, we control everything that the man does. Like, the man doesn't do anything without the woman's permission, which I found to be interesting. I don't know if I would agree with her on that. But anyway, so they go to her dinner party. Okay, she's having a dinner party. She's having people over. Shevek's drinking. He never drinks, or he's never drank before, and he starts drinking, and then he just starts getting into all these like petty arguments with people because they think they're so smart, and he can see through the bullshit because one, he's from Minari, so like, there is no bullshit there, so like it's this obvious day to him. Yeah, so he's just like there. He's just like getting really drunk and just like arguing with people. And then the girl, she like goes and she takes him to her room, or they go to her room, and so he just like wants to have sex with her, and then he like prematurely ejaculates all over her dress, and it's a huge scandal. So he like wakes up at the institution, and they're like, since you're a visitor here and you're not actually like a citizen from this planet, we've decided that you're just going to be confined to the institution compounds until you get that equation down for us, and then you can be on your way. So they basically put him in prison, and he wants to break out. So he makes friends with this servant. He finally starts connecting with this guy, and he's just like, I think I made a mistake. Like, the guy helps him escape. He escapes, and he joins like this revolutionary party that's sort of, they're against the war that's going on, but they're also against like A10, the society that's funding Shevek's like little excursion on your ass. And he straight up like joins this march, and he has a speech where he's like, basically, I'm not a capitalist, I'm not a profiteer, I don't condone any war. He basically just sitting there biting the hand that feeds him at this rally. And then, oh my god, the drama. There's bombs. The march gets bombed. People are like running for cover, and so Shevek, like, I don't know how he meets this guy, but him and this guy like sort of pair up, and they run into like this building that's crumbling, and they find shelter, and they're there for like a few days. And Shevek's just like there in the middle of a war, basically, and he's not even from this freaking planet. Yeah, so he's with the guy for a couple days. The guy does pass away. Shevek does get rescued by one of like the opposition parties. I think it's the socialist state. He like goes to the socialist headquarters, whatever. So they tell Shevek, you finish this theory up, baby girl. And then so the novel ends with him on his trip back to Minari, thinking about like his wife and if he's gonna be welcome back. And yeah, that's pretty much the story of Shevek and the Dispossessed. My personal opinion is I found it interesting. I found it a good read. I think it took a bit to get into, but once I got into it, I think the chapters just started flowing one right after the other. This is a personal project of